Hello, welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, your host, and we have two very interesting guests today. Rudy Rodriguez, who is the Administrative Services General Manager at the City of Cottonwood, and Ralph Faubert, who is the Director of the Valley Academy for Career and Technical Education, and it's so easy to remember VACT. So we usually say VACT and people go, what does that mean? So today we're going to talk about the SciTech Festival that we just had in March, and we're going to kind of talk about the wrap-up, how it all ended, and our plans for 2015. But first of all, I'd like to find out a little bit of information about each of you, and kind of your background or anything you want to share or anything you want the public to know about you that tells them why you were involved in this project. So Rudy, you want to start?
Well, I'll start off. I'm a Texas boy, moved up here going on 15 years ago. Started off as the city's finance director. I've been in finance for well over 20 years. And over the last 15 years, I've assumed the responsibilities of one of the general managers. There's 3 in the city of Cottonwood, and I am responsible for not only the finance department, but I'm also overseeing the IT, human resources, purchasing, and recently I took over the transit services. So we've got a really good staff, which keeps allowing me to have some time to do other things. And one of the things that I am doing with the city is working with, of course, the SciTech Festival. It was initially a step in for the city manager. He was out at the time, and he asked me to step in. And when he returned, he asked me if I was still interested, and I told him I would like to continue to work with the SciTech Festival. And I think overall, we developed a really good partnership last year. We'll strengthen it this year. And it was a week of high-tech events that we had, and this year we're looking forward to having an even bigger event and hopefully even more people attending that specific event.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, and I really appreciated mayors really need help sometime, and we don't have
Oh,
secretaries or admin assistants, so when staff steps up and helps out with projects that we get involved in and interested in, we're very thrilled and very thankful. So thank you. You spent so many hours and you're greatly appreciated. I think that allowed you to bring out your creative side instead of always just drilling on numbers.
It was an interesting thing for me to do. I hadn't done anything like that, and we got a lot of support from, as you know, from a lot of the different departments. We had our utilities departments, we had our airport involved. And we also had our police and fire showing off their robotics and their fire fighting techniques. So overall, it was a citywide effort, but I did have a lot of fun, and it was interesting to get away from numbers and do something a little bit more creative.
Good. Yeah. And Ralph, tell us a little bit about your background and how you arrived at SciTech.
Yes. Well, I'm the CTE director at VACT, but I also have
acronyms or
yes.
Okay, CTEs. What does that?
Career and Technical Education.
Okay.
Our audience probably thinks of VOTechnical things or VOTech, and they all think of wood shop or that sort of thing. Well, today's career and technical education is so much more. It's very scientific oriented, where students can learn the skills necessary to obtain high-wage, jobs that are in high demand, and technical jobs. And I've been with the Valley Academy for 7 years, and as part of my responsibilities, I'm the CTE director at Mingus Union and Sedona Red Rock High. I write grants and help them with purchasing equipment that they need and other resources to implement programs that will help the students here at the Verde Valley obtain these high-tech, high-paying jobs. And we have several programs at the schools. Camp Verde is also part of this. A little bit of my background, I'm from Nebraska, just a ways up from Texas, and spent about a third of my life there. And then I went to Iowa, and about a third of my life there, and I've been in the Verde Valley now for 14 years. I have a background in education, worked at 2 different state universities at Iowa and Florida State. I have federal government experience and experience in industry, and I know how to write grants And so this helps all of these things come together, but it's all about the kids, helping the kids. And so Dr. Ty, our new superintendent last year in the fall, approached me and he says, well, there's a meeting coming up for a science festival here in Cottonwood. Oh, great, I'll come and check that out. And we were given an assignment. And at that point in time, I said that Mingus Union High School is one of the best kept secrets here in the town. People just don't know all the things we do. They may know about football, but they don't know about all of the academics and science and career and technology classes that we offer. So that assignment, I could say, yeah, I can show them 10 different things. And so we had our instructors do that, and I'm hoping for more next year, more involvement and more interaction with the community and the businesses.
I tell you what, when I was kind of running around Mingus the evening, I really, there was so much to see that I didn't get to see it all. You know, it was, and what I did see was just amazing, and the work that I didn't realize how strong that VACT was in the high school and how much you have done with the students there. And for instance, the 3D printer, and you know, that could be a whole show in itself, I think. Just, you know, really that's a great idea, bring each entity that participated in the SciTech Festival in and talk about their what they did at the festival. And what I really loved about the whole thing was the partnerships that brought the community together. And we started out with the idea of having one in Cottonwood, and that quickly was like, well, let's do the whole Verde Valley. You know, I'm like, well, why not? And it was just amazing. We got Camp Verde, we got the schools in Camp Verde, we got Beaver Creek School to participate, and we had, you know, Cottonwood Oak Creek School District. You couldn't even begin to remember everybody that participated, but we all sat in a room the first Monday of every month and talked about how we were going to do this. And we didn't start, I mean, we just started it in August of last year, and we had the festival in March. So we just were running to get this done. I think that, you know, a lot of folks in the community saw the messages on the bus that Rudy was able to get there, and they still were like, well, what is the SciTech Festival? And really the whole idea of this is to get the whole community. It's about the children, and it's about the adults, the families, the businesses supporting children in the community, you know, to try to get children interested in these topics, because if we don't, you know, the jobs that are available in the future won't go to them. You know, they may go to folks in different countries, might come over and fill those jobs, which is all fine too, but you know, we really want our kids to have these opportunities, and there will be many. Everything you do is based on really science if you think about it. Ralph was just talking about some ideas for the 2015 festival, and he was talking about, well, Jeremy Babinger, who is the executive director of the Arizona SciTech Festival, just talks about anything you do really has science in it. I mean, recipes, cooking, the wine industry that's coming up. You were talking about tourism. What are some of your ideas on things that, for businesses that might be watching this, that might be interested, thinking, well, gosh, am I, you know, can I associate with SciTech? And what are some ideas that you all have?
I think one interesting thing, and you did mention, you started to talk about grocery stores. You know, we've got 3 large grocery stores, actually 4 if you count Walmart. You know, it'd be interesting to learn the logistics of how they actually, you know, deliver everything. You see these big trucks running all over the state, dropping off groceries, but there's a science to being able to deliver at a certain time, at a certain place, load up these trucks. And not just the food industry, but you can look to maybe possibly APS or FedEx, how they actually schedule their trucks to make sure that they have routes every day, and they make sure that they get everything delivered on a timely basis. You know, there's a lot of technology involved with the logistics of delivery, especially for the big companies such as UPS, FedEx, and the grocery stores, and any other delivery company, Home Depot.
Just how it impacts our everyday life. And you know, someone once told me that if those delivery trucks did not come into our town, that in 3 days our stores would be empty.
Yeah,
That's
I
our
would
food. Our
imagine it.
food security is 3 days if we don't have that transportation bringing in our food.
So you know, that's just one of the ideas I was looking at. I'm sure there's a lot of others that we can go ahead and look at. But we'd like to this coming year. You know, we had good representation from our state parks. We had good representation from the federal parks. The schools did a pretty good job, and I'm sure they're probably going to improve on it. The city has some improvement for this upcoming year, but the businesses need to be key to involvement here because they do. To them, it may be a regular day in, day out type of job, but in reality, there's a lot of technology involved in making from beginning to actually putting it out on a store shelf or in a display counter. There's a lot of technology involved, and we'd like to go ahead and encourage them. Do you have any other ideas that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, for example, about 5 years ago, our welding program at Mingus High School worked with the city of Cottonwood to repair a door on a fire truck. It required welding some stainless steel and fixing the hinges that had come loose. Well, that's the sort of associations we need to look at. Or we have an automotive program at Mingus Union, and we'd like to start working with hybrid cars and ultimately maybe even electric cars. And now with the introduction of the Nissan Leaf, it's almost been 4 years, and likewise with the Chevy Volt, there'll be opportunities for our students to learn how to work on these advanced vehicles, but it'll also increase awareness of the technology that goes into all of these things. I was recently at a career and technical education conference, and in the top 5 jobs for students with just a secondary degree like they would obtain at Mingus, one of the top 5 jobs is transportations and logistics, which is how you get all of those goods to the store. And there's a lot involved in that. And we have like a business program where students are learning about computers and software, and in their second year they learn about business plans. But again, people in the community are unaware of that. Maybe the opportunities for internships and those sorts of things can come about as a result of the science fair, so that we make these connections. Ultimately, it would be good to see the community have industry here that is higher paying jobs, and that can come about through a science fair, because people will become aware that we have a workforce
that we're interested
that are interested in these high-tech jobs, and that we can offer something that other communities don't offer. So that's one of the big draws. The feeder schools are important too. Clarkdale and the Cottonwood Oak Creek School District with their science fair. I was a judge at this year's science fair over at Cottonwood Oak Creek, and it's amazing to see the diversity of those projects. Well, just the parents of those students generally show up. And so it would be good for the rest of the community to see the scope of their talent, their imagination, and it also introduces those students to potential career paths. Career exploration is an important thing that we don't do enough of. So those are sort of some of my thoughts about ideas. I mean, they're sort of abstract right now, but we can make these ideas
happen with our group of folks that are trying to promote SciTech 2015. Well, it is time for a break. We will be right back in just a moment.
One of the areas still maturing in an adolescent brain is the prefrontal cortex. So when we take drugs, we alter key motivational circuits, changing the wiring needed for the cognitive function of the brain, until we can't totally deal with things like memory, thinking things out, and even learning stuff.
The signs are there. So is our help. Visit the partnership at drugfree.org for practical advice on coping with teen drug use.
Welcome back. I'm Mayor Diane Jones, your host at Inside Cottonwood, and we're talking with Rudy Rodriguez and Ralph Faubert about the 2014 SciTech Festival, looking ahead to 2015. For our wrap-up, you know, we really wanted to get more attendance, and we'll be working on that next year, but one of the fun things that we did was the passport. And people who went to different events could check off on their passport that they had been there, and when they got it, all of the boxes checked off, they would be in a drawing, and the children were able to have a chance to win a tablet. We had some donations of tablets from the Yavapai College Foundation, and we also had Unisource who donated $1,000, and we bought 3 tablets with that money. So the children were able to win a tablet, and I think that was pretty exciting. James Perry, the dean of Yavapai College on the Verde campus, was able to hand those tablets out. And I think the tablets were, the children in Camp Verde earned those tablets. They had the highest attendance. They had about 800 children come to their SciTech Festival, and over here we had a lesser attendance because we didn't actually have any of our SciTech activities during a school day where we could get 1,000 kids there. So everybody, both Camp Verde is looking at how can we bring it to the community in the evening so that the parents can attend, and the businesses, the families, the whole community, and we're looking at, well, how can we get more attendance? So any ideas on going up to 2015? Well, you know, 2014 was our model run. I mean, it's our maiden run, I guess we would call it. And so we're going to be able to compare what happened last year with how to make SciTech in the Verde Valley better this coming year. We're really hoping to get Sedona on board, and Tim Ernster, their town city manager, has expressed interest, and I've talked to Mayor Rob Adams about it also, and we're hoping to get Sedona to be a big part of this.
One of the things we were discussing even before the end of the event, I know that talking to Chief Kirkendall at the fire department and Chief Fanning over at the police department, though they had a good turnout, they really were concerned about increasing the turnout for this upcoming year. And one of the things that was talked about was, as what Camp Verde did, was take it to the schools if possible, maybe encourage the schools to make it a SciTech week so that fire departments, you know, possibly Mingus can show some of their displays and vice versa.
And take it to the school.
Take it to the schools during the day.
A lot of times the families are busy, the parents might be busy, they didn't, you know about it, even though I think every school sent out messages to every family. But you know, this year we know what we did last year, and we'll be able to improve upon it as we move forward. So just kind of share some more ideas of what we think we can do to improve it. I know that you put advertising on the buses, the CAT buses.
This year, you know, last year was an experiment on doing some advertising on the buses. This year we're going to be looking at doing full bus wraps for other events. And depending on how those turn out, we may be doing full bus wraps on some of our buses for the SciTech.
Okay.
Other things we're looking at, of course, is we do have a Verde Valley SciTech website, vvscitech.org, that we're trying to keep current. We had a young man that volunteered his time for Mingus, built a website and maintained it for us.
Lucas Hamilton.
Lucas Hamilton did a great job for us. And of course, Ralph mentioned that we probably need to get on the advertising on our water bills a little bit earlier. Last year we did cover part of Cottonwood and the Verde villages, but we started sending out the notices a little bit on the late side. This year we'll
Right.
start a little bit earlier.
We were having trouble grinding through trying to get our posters done and our flyers, and we got a lot of cooperation with the Arizona SciTech Festival, who paid for those things for us.
Right. Jeremy was and his staff did a lot of the artwork for free, and I like that kind of stuff.
Yes, being a finance director.
Yeah, a lot of it was done by them. They did a great job, but we'll just need to jump on it a little bit sooner this year. But regardless of whether the advertisement is put together early enough, I think getting it on our water bills, months before, notifying people the dates and maybe locations, things are going to happen even before the flyers are ready, might be something that we ought to look at.
Right, and I think this year we will be, we'll have that information ready a lot sooner because we've already done it once and we know how to do it now. And last year we were just trying to figure out who was going to do what on which date, and this year we've already kind of decided that. Pretty much going to follow the same pattern. It seemed like it worked out well with a few changes.
And, another possibility, like the science fair that's held over at Cottonwood Oak Creek, they have that in the auditorium there in the district office. That was about a month before our event. And so maybe we could have a conversation with Barbie Wren and, we can have this event a little later. And Dr. Ty, of course, attends meetings of all the superintendents in the Verde Valley. And so the word can get out to the other schools, and maybe we can do a better job of coordinating events during the week so more schools can participate in the daytime. And then, of course, continue with that event at Yavapai College so the adults can come and see some of the school items at that event. And but it's an open slate right now, and now that we have the experience and see what draws in those people, like what happened in Camp Verde, we can work more on that.
Yeah, and I'd like to take an opportunity to thank the Arizona Commerce Authority, who has been helping Jeremy Babinger with this and been supporting him. And, without folks like that, we wouldn't have an Arizona SciTech Festival. Time for another break already. We'll be right back.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. Mayor Diane Jones, your host, with Rudy Rodriguez and Ralph Faubert, talking about SciTech 2015. And we're just wanting to generate some enthusiasm in the community from businesses. And, I think it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be the personal contact, just walking into the business and explaining what's happening. Businesses are busy. And busy trying to make a living and provide their services. So some of them just may not see that bus on the road or read the flyer or, see it on Inside Cottonwood or Verde Valley TV or read it in the papers. So, it's going to probably take our committee some footwork out there in the public of letting the public know and just talking about it everywhere we go.
All of our actions will go to benefit our communities in the Verde Valley at large, because you have the kids, the future generations, who will be servicing our cars, providing health care, and a whole myriad of other services. And then you have those that have retired out of the workforce that have this tremendous amount of experience that they can bring to our community.
Absolutely.
And then everybody in between that's working hard, providing all of these services that we need. We bring everybody together. I think we can help the futures of our communities.
Yes.
And that.
You know, there was the airport event. You, Mayor, you were in attendance. We had Embry Riddle was there, and the dean of, I think it was admissions or instructions, was there at the time, and he was very surprised at the attendance and the excitement of the people that were coming over to visit the airport, to look at the AWOS system, what is it, all-weather observation station that we have, and all the technology that's involved with flying a plane, that he was so, we call it jazzed, that this coming year he plans to bring a lot more equipment for the public to see, such as their Mars rover and a couple of, he was thinking about bringing over a helicopter and bringing in some more of their planes and aeronautic stuff that they have over there. Because he didn't realize it was going to be this big an event. And I think the public needs to realize that this is a fairly large event for the city of Cottonwood, a week-long event.
And it's free.
And it's free, and it involves...
Bring the kids. It's not going to cost you anything.
Exactly. And the kids really enjoyed it. I think we're just going to have to do a little bit better job of marketing this. Because I think there's a lot to be shown in the city of Cottonwood, surprisingly so, because such a small community has a lot of technology with just about everything that goes on. Even the smallest of things has a lot of technology.
Let's talk about that, because I get so enthused when I think about the displays and the events that we held. Let's talk a little bit about the city and Mingus and some of the things that we did.
Well, the city of Cottonwood, of course, had some of their robotic cameras, and they also had their Hummers available. This coming year, we'll have the MRAP for the kids to look at, I believe, and the fire trucks and their equipment. Some of the kids.
There was a smokehouse.
There was a smokehouse.
Where you could see with this technology, you could see inside.
Right.
Yeah.
We had someone out there using their CAD systems. Over at the utility, we also
had water. We talked about water.
We talked about water. APS had some really interesting information about electricity.
Yeah, how you can get electrocuted. So they were electrocuting lemons and hot dogs.
And, that was really
everybody loved it. They call that the weenie wagon.
Right.
And I fought hard to get the weenie wagon here because I had seen it in Phoenix.
Right.
And I'm like, we need this in the Verde Valley.
And those kind of things
and
were really good.
Unisource had their explosion chamber.
Oh, exactly, showing the dangers of gas.
Patriot and Waste Management came. So Cottonwood kind of collaborated with some of the utilities and brought them in.
Right.
And at Mingus, I know that I watched students with the 3D machine, and I went over to the medical, where they were doing a lot of physical therapy. That was very interesting.
Sports medicine program. And, it's amazing, these partnerships that we have with the Verde Valley Medical Center and their physical therapy department, and Randy Boardman. Excellent support of our program. And about a third of those students go on to college. People don't know that, and they get into occupational therapy, physical therapy. And like you were saying about the CAD program, students, like, here's a glass. They have ability to draw this on a computer, 3D, and then we can print a model of this. And they can learn about structural flaws and things. And they could be working at engineering firms. So we should look at getting those folks involved. And again, but there's a lot we did, though, that was amazing. We've got one of the best welding shops in northern Arizona, either in business or in schools. But our welding shop is better than what Yavapai College has. We have all the different processes available. The people that came through, you got to look at what's called a plasma cam, where you can cut out individual pieces of metal to design. You can do welding sculpture. You can fabricate machine parts. really an amazing thing. And in our auto shop, we keep working to improve that. And the students this year were able to show what's called a scan tool. All these cars since 1996 have a computer connection that you can plug a device into, and you learn all about the diagnostics of your car, what it takes to repair it. We were showing that off. And so that's something new. But then those kids pass an exam. There's this ASE exam, and that is an institute that is nationwide that certifies automotive repair technicians. So we did a lot at Mingus, and there were other programs. We showed off the academic placement programs. Craig May, our calculus instructor, who's also an engineer in a former life, a wonderful instructor, he showed off modeling of how to calculate areas in solid objects. Very high-level math. And to think that our students were explaining this, demonstrating this
to the public.
Yes, and it was all real successful. It was, I was really proud of the effort that our students made, that they'd show up at these different things, come in at night, and be there for a couple of hours. I thought that was commendable.
They were amazing. They were. Well, gentlemen, we're going to have to wrap it up here. I did want to share a few words from Dean James Perry. He says, on behalf of Yavapai College and the Verde Valley campus, they appreciate all the work that went into planning and conducting the Verde Valley SciTech Festival. And Dean Perry said it is their hope they can continue to educate students and community members on the importance and excitement surrounding STEM education, and look forward to next year's festival. So we'll probably be having a few more of these before the next festival to help the public understand what it's about and to invite them to attend. But at this moment, we've kind of used up all our time, and we have to say goodbye for today.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
That's the way it is in Cottonwood.